Hi guys, it's Harry from Manchester City Fan TV, coming at you the day after Manchester City put us one step from Wembley once again by beating Newport County in the round of 16 of the FA Cup 4-1. The Blues' goals came from Leroy Sané, a brace from our Stockport Iniesta Phil Foden, and a late goal by Mahrez that secured the Blues' place in the next round. And if you want any reaction, fan reaction and matchday vlog from the game, please go and check out the previous videos on the channel, because Ray took the long slog down to Newport yesterday to record all that good content for you. Well, I'm not here to give my match review today, but I'm here to give my player ratings on a good performance from the Blues, which could have been a very tricky tie. You know, Newport put up a really good fight, and all credit to them for getting this far. You know, beating Leicester and Middlesbrough along the way, you know, is a brilliant achievement, and they did give us a game that a lot of Premier League sides wouldn't give us in recent years anyway. So first off, I'm going to start with Ederson in goal, and Ederson for me yesterday was superb, and I'm going to give Ederson an 8 out of 10 purely because he kept us in the game in the first half. He made an absolute brilliant save when the ball went to Bakerson at the back post, the midfielder on loan from Bristol City. The header looked like he was destined for the back of the net. Ederson clawed it with a brilliant save down to his right, and his passing all game on a bobbly pitch didn't seem to fade him at all. His confidence was as high as it always is with his feet, apart from one little scary moment where he did try and be a bit too cocky and dink it over the players. And, you know, it nearly fell to their player for the tapping, but he burst up a bit of speed and got there and cleared the ball just in time. But Ederson for me was superb, and yeah, 8 out of 10 for me, Ederson. Moving on to the back four, and the back four was pretty much exactly how I predicted it to be. We had Danilo on the right-hand side. Danilo was always a threat, and I think with the fullbacks, they spent more of the time in the opposition half more than in our half. So Danilo, I'm going to give a 6 out of 10. It was a very average performance from Danilo, very tidy. You know, he's not played a lot of football recently, and he came in and did his job. He actually hit the post just after the first goal, and a nice little bit of link up with Gabriel Jesus. He was always a threat, he was always an option, but didn't really add much influence in the game. So I've got to give him a bit of an average mark, 6 out of 10. And the same for Alexander Zinchenko for me over on the other side. He put in a few teasing balls actually around the back of the defence, and you can see his quality from obviously in previous years being an attacking midfielder for PSV and now coming back to City was there, and you could see that he's got the technique to whip that ball in, and it was a constant threat all game. But again, he didn't really have much influence on the game. He didn't, you know, didn't create any opportunities, but he was also there. His passing was good. He never made any mistakes. So yeah, another 6 out of 10 for Zinchenko. Moving on to the back two, and in the back two we have John Stones and Nicholas Otamendi, and I think I've got to give them both the same rating. I'm going to give them both 7 out of 10. John Stones was a brilliant all game. You know, he seems to deal with the bobble, I think, the best out of all the players. You know, he didn't rush towards the ball, let the ball bounce towards him, and you know, if he needed to lift his foot for the bobble, he always knew when was needed. And I think he had a really solid game, and even moving into defensive midfield when Laporte came on and gave Mahrez an assist. So a solid game from him, and you know, he was good in the air as well, which he needed to be, and I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. And it's the same with Nicholas Otamendi. His centre-back partnership, I think his aerial prowess really shone today, and I think the games that we have lost this season, like Newcastle and Palace, when they've had big physical strikers up front, we've missed his aerial presence that we had last season. So for me, Nicholas Otamendi gets a 7 out of 10. I don't think he'd have done much of the goal. I think that's a fault of Laporte for his header being very awkward, and you know, it's a good finish by him on, to be fair to him, to get Newport back into the game. But a solid outing from the general as usual, 7 out of 10. Moving on to perhaps a surprise inclusion in the starting lineup yesterday, Fernandinho at defensive midfield was perhaps a surprise to a lot of City fans, that perhaps risked him on this pitch and risked him when there's a big week coming up in the Champions League, and of course we've got the Carabao Cup final as well. But you know, when he did play, it was a typical Fernandinho performance, putting out any fires and threats that Newport had, and then creating a few opportunities himself as well. Pep risked him, and the risk paid off. It was a brilliant performance from Fernandinho. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. Before obviously being subbed off for Laporte late on to give his legs a bit of rest for a big game in midweek. The two number 8s, we had Phil Foden and David Silva, and both of them had brilliant performances, but one in particular stood out, and my man of the match, the Stockport Iniesta, Phil Foden. I'm going to give him a 9 out of 10. He was absolutely superb. He scored 2 goals, and his all-round game was brilliant, but he was quiet for 70 minutes. He didn't really get on the ball much. When he did, it was just laying the ball off and playing nice little 1-2s. He was tidy, and then if you would have asked me for a rating 70 minutes in, I would have given him a 6 out of 10, an average performance from Phil, but he really turned it on. I mean, what a brilliant touch for his first goal, to take it past his man, cut inside on his left foot, and a shot that used to surface to advantage, bounced off, and the keeper could only palm it into the back of the net. The second goal was absolutely brilliant. Just as Newport had got back into the game, Phil Foden drove at the heart of the Newport defence, switched it onto his left foot and fired the ball into the top corner. A brilliant, brilliant goal from a player who, for me, I tweeted out yesterday, sorry, that he's got to be working his way into Pep Guardiola's starting 11 plans for the Premier League. You know, how long is it till we're going to see that? I think he's shown yesterday that he can deal with the physicality from any other team, because, you know, Newport were obviously going to be physical with him, and obviously he's got bags of technical quality. We can see that in abundance. So I think it doesn't help him that all four players in the centre midfield are in really good patches of form at the moment. But surely it's not long till we're going to see him in a starting 11, and I can't wait for that day, because he has deserved it. And every time he plays, he never disgraces himself and always puts in a really good performance. So yeah, I'm going to give Phil Foden a 9 out of 10. Moving on to his number 8 partner, and David Silva, another player I think struggled initially with the bobble of the pitch. A few of his passes were off. Maybe he was just trying to find his range, but his class really shone through in the second half. His second half performance very nerfed his first half performance. A few brilliant passes, sending through a couple of people as well. His class was just evident, you know, against lower league opposition, and was one of the reasons why we did get through to the next round. So I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. You know, magnificent second half performance in particular. Moving on to our front three, and the front three was as expected. Mahrez, first of all, played off the right. Mahrez, who got his goal late on, was a constant threat, I thought, all game. I'm going to be very fair with Riyad here, because I've seen a lot of stick from Riyad, especially after that first half. He was the only one really creating any opportunities. We struggled initially to create any opportunities, and Mahrez was finding space and getting shots off. But I do agree that sometimes he does have to know when to pass, but he's at the perfect place and teacher to show him how to do that. You know, he's got Pep Guardiola next to him. He'll tell him when's the right time to pass and when's the right time to take the shot on, and I think he deserved his goal in the end. His persistence paid off, and hopefully that gives the Algerian a bag of confidence and could maybe play his way back into Pep Guardiola's plans with big games coming up. So I'm going to give the Algerian a solid 8 out of 10, a good performance by him. Moving on to the left hand side, our German wonder kid Leroy Sané started after a brief spell out of the team, and you could tell he really wanted to prove a point yesterday. He's dribbling down the left, which I think was at points, especially in the first half, was the most visible part of grass on the pitch, which helped. Really carved open Newport on numerous occasions. One of them where he did hit the bar, where I really should have scored, but he made up for that in the second half with a great little bit of interplay between Gabriel Jesus and himself. That set up the first goal, and you know, he built on it from there. He set up a few opportunities as well, and I think he was brilliant yesterday, and he was close to getting my man of the match actually. I think he put in a decent all-round performance. He's tracking back, which wouldn't have been easy to do, and that's a lot of Leroy as a person, because I don't think he's the type of player that normally does that. Really was evident last night, so I'm going to give Leroy an 8 out of 10. And finally, from the starting 11, Gabriel Jesus up front, and I'm going to give a very special shout out to Gabriel Jesus. I think in my match ratings, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10 purely because he got an assist, but he didn't contribute with a goal. But I think Gabriel Jesus' all-round performance was pretty good. His link-up play was excellent, and I think, you know, maybe his Brazilian heritage helped him in this aspect. His close control was put to the test a few times, and 9 times out of 10 he's shown that he has got the ability to take the ball under pressure and create opportunities himself. He's got really good control with his feet, you know that low centre of gravity that we always associate with Sergio Aguero. I think Gabriel Jesus has got that too, and I'm excited the way Gabriel Jesus is playing at the moment. That, you know, of course Sergio is the man in the league, but in come competitions, and when Sergio initially has a bit of a tail off in form, Gabriel can come in and play just as well. So obviously I'm going to give Gabriel a 7 out of 10. His link up with Leroy for the first goal was brilliant as well. It kind of came out of nothing, them two. There was no one else forward. Nice little bit of link up. And yeah, the first goal came from them. So Gabriel Jesus, 7 out of 10. Finally, we're going to go on to the substitutes. And there's only 2 substitutes used by Pep Guardiola. And I'm not going to rate Ilkay Gundogan because he didn't really have enough chance to get on the game, to have an impact on the game. Sorry, he came on about 5 minutes from the end for David Silva. And he didn't really have a chance to have an impact on the game. When he did have the ball, he had a few decent touches, but nothing more than an average rating for me. He didn't really create any opportunities or anything, but you can't really rate him. There's not much you can base it off. Aymeric Laporte, I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10, and maybe this is a bit harsh from me, but I think that he should have done so much better with their goal. He headed it into their player. It was just very poor from Aymeric, but I think you let him off because, you know, his recent performances have been superb, and not even his recent performances, his performances all season since he's joined us has been superb. So you let Aymeric off, but purely because he came on and made a mistake, you can't give him an average rating. You've got to give him a 5 out of 10. So the Blues again have put us one game away from Wembley, and we're into the quarter-finals of the FA Cup. Who will get the draw, I think, on Monday before the Chelsea and Manchester United game. So it'll be interesting to see who we get from that. Ray actually made the long slog down to Newport, as I said before. So make sure you go and check out all the post-match and pre-match reaction he got from all the Manchester City fans, Newport fans, down in the channel. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you comment if you agree with my ratings, and I'll make sure to have a look at them and see what you guys thought of the performances today. We've got a big week coming up, obviously, with Schalke in the Champions League on Wednesday. I think Andy's going out to that. Then we're all going down to Wembley for the Carabao Cup final against Chelsea next Sunday as well. So I'm excited for that. Excited for the week coming. We could finish this week with the first trophy of the season in the bag, and hopefully a lot more to come. So make sure you subscribe to Manchester City Fan TV if you've not already. I've been Manchester City Fan TV, Harry, and I'll see you next time.